washed up when I reached my office. Then I went into the meeting. I apologized to my manager for my poor sales performance and asked if there was a way I could make it up. I needed to keep this job. The sales manager smiled and told me to relax. He said he wasn't going to fire me, at least not now. He'd spoken to both of my customers and had never had people compliment one of his staff so much. Both said I was a nice person and went the extra mile for them. Out of nowhere, the manager invited me into an exclusive training group. I'd be away for intensive training for a month, and then I would work longer hours with a personal trainer and mentor. The training would last a year, and I'd receive a high salary and higher commissions on sales. Plus, he handed me an extra bonus check to help cover my additional childcare expenses. I recalled the words that mysterious stranger had said to me. "Say yes in your meeting this morning." I heard myself say, "Yes, of course." I was shocked because I had no idea how I'd work out the month away. That sales training helped me excel in sales and marketing for several companies and provided a strong foundation for my own business. That odd conversation with a stranger in a deluge had changed my life. It took me a long time to understand that I'd met, shook hands, and spoken with an angel. I still get a bit nauseated when I think of the overpowering smell from the stranger. But the handshake was firm, and the words were exactly what I needed to hear. Without those words, I would have instinctively declined that training offer, and my career would have ended that day. At one of the lowest points in my life, during a cold fall rainstorm on the treacherous Long Island Expressway, my life was transformed. And while the training was rigorous, and there were many moments when I wanted to quit because it all seemed too hard, the words of that angel gave me the staying power and confidence that I needed. Strangers in the Night by Lydia Jackson. You should never feel alone. There's always someone to turn to. It is the guardian angel who's watching over you. Kay Sue. One Sunday afternoon, I felt remarkably listless and tired, so I decided to lie down for a nap. My husband thought this most unusual of me, as I was normally tending to the children, cooking, gardening, or puttering around with some artistic project. He felt my forehead and took my temperature. Sure enough, I had a high fever. He made arrangements with his mom to stay with the kids, who were 5 and 7 years old at the time, and we went to the hospital. After triage, it was determined there was a good chance I had pneumonia, and I was admitted for a brief stay. My fever was high enough that the doctor put me on an antibiotic IV drip. The plan was for an overnight stay and then to be released in the morning. Well, things did not go as planned. I remember feeling so out of control. I had kids to get ready for school the next morning, lunches to make, a family to take care of. But I also remember how tired I was and how all I wanted to do was sleep. I had to surrender to the medical professionals assigned to my care. A couple of days passed, but I did not feel any better. Doctors came by. The nurses checked my vitals every morning and night. The best part of my day was when my husband visited. His visits always lifted my spirits. On the third day in the hospital, I began feeling extremely uncomfortable. With no appetite or energy, I slept most of the day. That night, I remember waking up because I felt a presence in the room. I was lying on my left side and slowly rolled over onto my back. At the foot of my bed stood 2 women in nuns' black habits. One stood about a foot taller than the other. They did not speak. They just stood there, motionless. I remember thinking, why would 2 nurses come to check on me in the middle of the night? I quickly dismissed that thought and said to them, "I'm not doing so well tonight." They looked at me and then turned their gaze to the IV on the right of my bed, almost as if they were pointing to it with their eyes. I rolled over onto my left side and went back to sleep. The next morning, I attempted to eat a little breakfast and decided to turn on the hospital television that my husband had rented for me during my stay. Scrolling through the channels, I landed on The Montel Williams Show. He had psychic Sylvia Brown as his guest, and they were discussing guardian angels. Not long after the show ended, my husband called. We chatted about the kids, and I began telling him about the 2 nurses dressed in black who had come to check on me in the